Hello guys, I'm Denis and I'm from Russia. Today I show you my hometown. This is Vladivostok, evening center of Vladivostok, and also tell about time from USSR, from Soviet Russia, from Soviet Vladivostok. Okay, let's get started. Vladivostok is the largest city and the administrative center of Primorsky Krai, Russia. The city is located around the Golden Horn Bay on the Sea of Japan, covering an area of 331 square kilometers with a population of 600,000 residents as of 2021. Vladivostok is the second largest city in the Far Eastern Federal District, as well as the Russian Far East after Khabarovsk. The city was founded in 1860 as a Russian military outpost. In 1872, the main Russian naval base on the Pacific Ocean was transferred to the city, and thereafter Vladivostok began to grow. After the outbreak of the Russian Revolution in 1917, Vladivostok was occupied in 1918 by foreign troops, the last of whom from Japan were not withdrawn until 1922. By that time, the anti-revolutionary White Army forces in Vladivostok promptly collapsed, and Soviet power was established in the city. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Vladivostok became the administrative center of Primorsky Krai. Vladivostok is the largest Russian port on the Pacific Ocean and the chief economic, scientific and cultural center of the Russian Far East, as well as an important tourism center in Russia. As the terminus of the Trans-Siberian Railway, the city was visited by over 3 million tourists in 2017. The city is the administrative center of the Far Eastern Federal District and is the home to the headquarters of the Pacific Fleet of the Russian Navy. Due to its geographical position and its Russian culture, the city has been dubbed as Europe in the Far East. Many foreign consulates and business have offices in Vladivostok, and the city hosts the annual Eastern Economic Forum, with a yearly mean temperature of around 5 degrees. Vladivostok has a cold climate for its mid-latitude coastal setting. This is due to winds from the vast Eurasian landmass in winter, also cooling the ocean temperatures. By the time of the establishment of Soviet power, Vladivostok was in decline. The retreating forces of the Japanese army removed items of materials value from the city. Life was paralyzed. There was no money in the banks, and the equipment of enterprise was plundered. Due to mass migration and repression, the city's population decreased to 106,000 inhabitants. Between 1923 and 1925, the government adopted a 3-year restoration plan, during which operations at the commercial port were resumed, and it became the most profitable in the country. From 1924 to 1925, the restoration period was distinguished by a number of peculiarities. The Russian Far East did not adopt war communism, but was immediately included to the new economic policy. In 1925, the government decided to accelerate the industrialization of the country. A number of subsequent 5-year plans changed the face of Primoria, making it an industrial region, partly as a result of the creation of numerous concentration camps in the region. In the 1930s and 1940s, Vladivostok served as a transit point on the route used to deliver prisoners and cargo for the Sevastopol of the Soviet Super Thrust Delstroy. The notorious Vladivostok transit camp was located in the city. In addition, in the late 1930s and early 1940s, the Vladivostok First Labor Camp Vladleg was located in the area of the Vtoraya Rechka railway station. Vladivostok was not a place of hostilities during the Great Patriotic War, although there was a constant threat of attack from Japan. In the city, a defense fund was created, the first in the country, to which the residents of Vladivostok contributed personal wills. During the war years, Vladivostok handled imported cargo, Lend-Lease, of a volume almost 4 times more than Murmansk and almost 5 times more than Arkhangelsk. By the decree of the Council of Ministers of the Soviet Union, issues of the Fifth Navy, dated 11th August 1951, a special regime was introduced in Vladivostok. It began to operate on 1st January 1952. The city was closed to foreigners. It was planned to remove from Vladivostok not only foreign consulates, but also the merchant and fish fleet, and transfer all regional authorities to Voroshilov, now Ussurisk. However, these plans were not implemented. During the years of the Khrushchev thaw, Vladivostok received special attention from state authorities. For the first time, Nikita Khrushchev visited the city in 1954 to finally decide whether to secure the status of a close naval base for him. It was noted that at the time the urban infrastructure was in a deplorable state. In 1959, Khrushchev visited the city again. The result is a decision on the accelerated development of the city, which was formalized by the decree of the Council of Ministers of the Soviet Union on 18 January 1960. During the 1960s, a new tram line was built, a trolleybus was launched. The city became a huge construction site. Residential neighborhoods were being erected on the outskirts, and new buildings was public and civil purposes for erected in the center. In 1974, Gerald Ford paid an official visit to Vladivostok to meet with Leonid Brezhnev, becoming the first president of the United States to visit the Soviet Union. Both sides signed the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty, which helped to contain the nuclear arms race between the Soviet Union and the United States during the Cold War. On 20 September 1991, Boris Yeltsin signed Decree number 123 on the opening of Vladivostok for visiting by foreign citizens, which entered into force on 1st January 1992, ending Vladivostok status as a closed city. A little about history of Vladivostok. For a long time, the Russian government was looking for a stronghold in the Far East. This role was played in turn by the settlements of Okhotsk, Ayan, Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, and Nikolaevsk on Amur. By the middle of the 19th century, the search of the outposts had reached a dim end. None of the ports met the necessary requirement to have a convenient and protected harbor next to trade routes. The Origin Treaty was concluded by the forces of the Governor-General of Eastern Siberia Nikolai Muravyev-Amursky. Active exploration of the Amur region began, and later, as a result of the signing of the Treaty of Tientsin and the Convention of Pekin, the territory of modern Vladivostok were annexed to Russia. The very name Vladivostok appeared in the middle of 1859, was used in newspaper articles and denoted a bay. On 20 June 1860, the transport of the Siberian military flotilla Manchur, under the command of Lieutenant Commander Alexei Karlovich Shefner, delivered a military unit to the Golden Horn Bay to establish a military post, which has now officially received the name of Vladivostok. It was one interesting issue about Vladivostok, about history of Vladivostok, and also about Soviet period of Vladivostok. Like this video, write below your opinion and your story about your city's from your countries. Also subscribe on my channel. And bye bye guys. Пока-пока.